Welcome back to the Battle of Boroughs. We just saw 2 games of incredible action out of the New York tri-state area, and it's only heating up. We've got 6 more to go. Monster, there's a lot of developments, but Gonzo's finally striking back, the team that you were looking at.
Hey man, Bronx, step it up, all right, boys? Nah, keep it going though. Gonzo and crew really stepping up to the plate, finding those frags that they know they could have. Like I said, their game 1 was somewhat of a middling performance for a squad that finishes first for the region, and they were dominated. We're talking back-to-backs for a few of these squads as far as how they did in the open stages. So you saw their potential, their cap, and how good they could be. Now we're seeing how they can really dominate come those end games and really be a force out there. This is the look at the highlights though to get you guys caught up. A couple of those final moments and how it all unfolded. This is what I'm talking about from Gonzo, Jared's, and Okote. Just look at the aggression, right? Really laying down fire to anyone that's in their lines of sight.
And they took height without even having the shockwave launcher or any of those tools in their kits, but this was it. It was actually the Bronx versus Queens, and the Queens ended up winning out because they had that extra ability from the shockwave launcher. Gonzo left by himself, but not before finding himself a couple more easy frags. He tried even to go in the zone, but at the end, it was Queens who ended up winning out. Tiny Jelly, Taken, and Aqua, they finish him off, and then they end up going to pinch the rest of the lobby up from height.
Here's those final moments as well. You just see the strength of the rocket launcher, the shockwave blasting all those enemies out into the zone, and that was really it, right? But it's crazy because if Gonzo didn't like aim for the back of the knees when he went up there, you know, he would have just hit the headshot. He would have caught the player with the shockwave launcher. That would have been their game. Probably one of the sickest comebacks, you know, for retakes in height. And honestly, dodgiest, right? Like, who launch pads for height when there's a team of 3 up there? I don't know. A reckless squad, but that's what Gonzo and the crew pulled off.
They caught him off surprise. I mean, they were looking all the way around. Regardless, now we got to look forward to game 3 and look forward to see, is there any changes on the map? Obviously, we saw a lot in game 1. Just to mention, Blue T Roat and crew ending up going to the Authority instead of Lazy Lake. There was a team who started off at Caddy Corners contesting at Zexro, Bizzle, and Jaith, and they moved somewhere else too. I think even further down the western side of the map, not wanting anything to do with the team fighting for the Caddy loots. Are there going to be anything else? This team's going to start moving actually to fight against Zexro and crew because they sense some weakness, or no?
I mean, you can see that they're pushing for anyone that they can find. The fact that they even pulled up on the grappler, we didn't see how that fight unfolded, but you have to assume that someone was based up while they caught that guy off guard and they targeted him. It's easy as a grappler player to be out positioned, right, away from your squad mates trying to get to safety. So they're targeting players where they think they can come up big, and that's an indicator right there. If they find themselves in that position again, though, you best believe they're probably gonna be a lot more cautious with their delivery in that end game, because Jay's falling twice now. That's 2 mistakes in his you know, ball field. You know he's going to be beating himself up for it, because they should have a much more dominating lead at this point in the game, especially after their positioning in game 2.
I think that is key. That call out that you're saying, basically they're playing a little bit too confident in a sense. The way that they were approaching that in towards the 5th zone, you'd expect them to be back. But let's take a first glimpse at the leaderboard, and it's actually Fox and Zero and Valor at the top from Brooklyn with 133 points. And look how far Zexro and crew fell, all the way down to 7th, even though they were in 1st at the beginning of that game.
That's insane. And what's going to be here, it's Jersey on top as well, 2nd place there now, holding out. Disrupt, Dripped, and Vict, who's holding it through. The God team, though, from the Bronx, that's the squad right there of Baby Gonzo, Okote, and Jared's, like we said. And hold up, let me search up the Asian persuasion right here real quick. That's Tiny Jelly. Yeah, from Queens.
That's the team who ended up winning that last game. They pushed their way up. But there's a lot of different things that we got to pay attention to, of course, throughout this. We've got 6 more games, so it's not necessarily about who's going to be at the top of the leaderboard at these first 2. There's obviously going to be some of those at the top who end up losing in consistency. A team like Fox and Sarah and Valor, they might be getting these elims early out through the game on their stomping path out of Pleasant Park. But if they can't actually perform in towards the end game, we're going to have trouble to see them at the top time and time again, because mid-game fights, as we know, are not as consistent unless you're very, very, very good at taking them. And obviously they've shown that they are, But with another team who's doing that, plus getting in towards the end game, I'm not sure if they'll stay up at the top for much longer, although we'll have to see. Maybe they'll just prove me completely wrong.
I mean, it's a three-point lead right there between Elite or Team Elite, which is Bizzle, Zexro, Jaith, and Cero, Fox, and Valor there. It's so close. It's so close. 3 points is matter of placement. So for what it's worth, both are making endgame and both are finding frags. The difference maker now is a matter of who's going to fall out of the race first, who's going to fizzle out, because at this rate, they're both on some serious momentum and they got the balls rolling right now. But like I said, it's up to Jaith to really figure out his mid game right now and not get dropped.
Yep, that's very, very important. Bizzle has got to be able to rein him in so that does not happen, so that they have the room to make the plays like they did going for that supply drop. But then they get separated, and unfortunately, that will cost them. We are hopping into game number 3 out of 8. And tuning in with Fox and Valor and Cero, this was the team up at the top of the leaderboard because of their elimination heavy game style out of Pleasant Park.
That's right, guys, and this is the battle of the Boroughs, and Jersey, of course, kind of slid their way up in there. Here's the team: Fox and Valor and Cero. I think the leaderboard at the very end was a little bit miscalculated. It swung back in the other way, so they might be in second place right now with 130 points, but just showing how close the competition is up there. 3-point difference. I mean, we just watched the EU kind of DreamHack solos unfold between Teak and Mr. Savage. A few points, a few placement points shows you that every single engagement matters. And right now it's looking like that, a neck and neck race between two power forces.
So uncontested out of Pleasant Park this time, just like in game 2. That first win made it so strong. Bugsby also continues to frag at Lazy Lake. They have another team who ended up trying to push them in the mid game in Lazy Lake, and now they're actually there at the start of things. Starting off with an elim makes it so that they have the advantage. Meanwhile, that Roat fight at the Authority with Blue Tea and crew is still ongoing at the Authority, but Roat starts off things strong.
That's right, he's gonna find bacon strips there for the quick drop. Looking good for them, so we're gonna get that nice perspective and swing over now. What's left of Bacon Strips' team is probably off running. You can see that's the one sole cursor off on the eastern portion of the island there. Trying to get away now. I love what happened here around the Authority, the fact that there's still water surrounding it, but now it's much more landmass, so you can really get up onto those side kind of walls here, making it seem like much more of a fortress than anything else.
Oh, and they do have the card too. I was worried for a second that the last remaining player of the trio that they're fighting ended up getting the grappler and making his way out. Here's another fight that we saw last time, and it's unfolding in the exact same situation. The Aircore, Mind, and Spark will take height on the Starving X Oxygen trio of Joe, Pump, and Redux. Actually, I'm pretty sure. I know it's New York, but I'm pretty sure Glizzy changed his name to Glizzy from Pump.
Hey, I call it how I see it half the times, with the amount of pros that don't know how to pick and choose. Regardless, though, this is quite literally a mirror situation as we saw before. Same setup too: the high ground, the hold, the push in. I mean, last time we saw this, Spark was the last alive in the squad mate. Looks like it's looking quite literally the same. Joe's getting in there already backed up and tagged up as Redux. But remember, it was the team on the low ground here. It was Redux and the Starving crew that managed to get the first knock to bounce back. And it was because of plays like this, Darkcore trying to play sneaky for the angles here. And it's going to work out this time, though, as Joe is pressured in and under the ramp. He's stuck. It's up to his teammates to back him. And if Darkcore would have just continued the pressure, he had an opportunity there with the fumbled edit. But it's okay. The counter pressure comes in, and they're not going to let him get away for free. The SMGs are going to find its mark. And down goes Spark now and Darkcore here. It's not looking too good.
Just like last time, things are drastically falling in the other direction. Mind will find one by himself, but quickly he gets out and then gets coned, but might actually finish this off. No. Spray through on the side after the cone, and then also one from the top. Well executed, well coordinated. Chemistry showing off from Oxygen X Starving.
Good plays there. And I mean, it's the same fate. The knocks go in their favor first. Love that the whirlpools are also re-enabled right now. You can see so many more opportunities to exit and rotate out. There is a whirlpool just over there. The team that's firing in is sitting on a boat right now. 2 boats, make it 2, firing in multiple missiles here, trying to see what they can find and fish out. And looks like the peppers are going to come in and they're going to escape.
Another squad that has been certainly W keying and getting some elims is this one right here, Soul chasing Invidious. Although they did fall in the mid game last time, they're down and chasing another. He's stuck below the bridge, and they will root him out, instantly knocking him. And they've got protection too from all sides. 1 elim already accrued. I'm not sure where the rest of his squad is. If they know, yes, I think they do. Literally, they've already marked it. They know he's in the shed. This team has been ratted out, smoked out, and they will be able to finish this almost instantly because there's no space. They even get some nades in. Wow.
Oh no.
Right through the window. And that's it.
Unfortunate. I mean, he was also, you know, he shaked him down. What did you think was going to happen? You knew you were there. Yeah, the guy ran under the bridge and shook him down. Okay, so they peppered when we last tuned in Joe, Redux, and Pump here, like you said, but they didn't disengage. They just backed up and they stood here to take the fight. It seems like there's a team up above now. Yes, throwing rockets down, and this is not looking good for them. They're in the pinch for sure.
I think that's got to be Marauders coming off of the hill. There's so many. I would not expect 2 teams to be here. I wouldn't even expect 1 to be pushing on them after they already had their fight. Usually Craggy's one of those safe spots, but instead they've got some trouble. Lurking in the mist.
I think it's a trio and a set of Marauders, to be honest, but hold up. Joe's on some pressure now. And Joe's going to put all the nades in the box, tries to sneak the team in. It might work. Okay, a little bit of disruption, though. He's still in the game right here. Has to break the floor now to save his squad mate. And this is going to work out. His boy is still alive. Glizzy's still in the fight right now against Doe. Wait, what is happening here? Oh, no, Glizzy's going to fall. Okay, so he slips through the build. He comes down to save here.
Wow. Just in time, and I think they might actually be able to pick it up, but here he is on the stairs. He's gonna have to get off of that and force the stairs, but he gets him up, but not before losing his life, and that's the end. Starving falls to Claw, who dives in the box in a 1 versus 2, and you're right, it was a Marauder squad plus the trio who moves their way around. And here again, Bizzle and crew is pushing into Lazy Lake onto one of the better squad or trios on this entire area. Jared's, Gonzo, and Okote on the backside. They're getting pressured now, but this is, I think, the first time we're really seeing Bizzle, Sexro, and Jath in the mid game. And he's got 11 peppers. Is that real right there for Bizzle?
Yeah, I think you can hold like up to 15 or 20. So that is indeed a true pepper hold right there. Pretty crazy.
Oh my God.
I mean, and honestly, that's just good luck, right? If there's anything you want to fall, it's either the shrooms or the peppers, but peppers is arguably more OP as you get later into the game.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. And there, the kid's shotgun on Zexro. You know, he's known for his aim. He's got a launch pad too, so they found 2 out of Caddy, 1 from the supply drop, and then 1 off of floor loot, it looks like. Jath as well has a shockwave launcher. And with 0 elims, being able to find this again, it looks like they're not getting contested at Caddy anymore. They went off the first game and move out. So we'll hop back in with them when something interesting happens. But for now, we're looking at Soul and chasing Nvidia. So we saw already get 2 elims. They're in another fight against Spark and crew, who we saw last game get into a really, really uncomfortable storm fight on the edge of zone.
But every time we've seen Taco and Spark, I mean, they've been on the losing end, even if they got away with this fight. We saw extended. It didn't go well for them once they got to the zone afterwards. But now they're fighting in the storm. Let's see, or sorry, in the safety outside of the storm. No longer gonna be an issue for this battle here. See, it's gonna work out now. Invidious is gonna get dropped though. He's not available to back them up anymore, and this is gonna be the disengage from Chase and Soul. So they lose to Taco and crew. Taco and Spark here again, the second time back to back. 2 games in a row now.
Last time we saw one of them stay for a while, but this time it's a full disengage for both sides. Maybe because it's in the zone, there's a little bit less of a shock factor when somebody ends up continuing to fight you. It was off of a good set of nades from Spark from down below, boxed up, where he ended up grabbing that elim onto Soul, and because of that they disengage. A team that relies so much on their mid-game eliminations, Fox and Valor and Zero, who sits at the top of the leaderboard in the top of the standings right now as 0, even coming out of Pleasant Park. Now this time opting for a different strategy, a way to extend their game as much as possible, get all the metal that they can before moving for position going forward.
And I love what they're doing right now. Already at the top of the leaderboard after 2 great games, suddenly slowing down the way that they're approaching this game 3 here. Basically trying to secure the lead, secure the end game. Taking their time right now. Much different pace as there's more on the line now for them when they can see and taste first place here. It's so close. But all right, Roat, Blue T do have the authority loot. There goes that grappler getting put into play. You can see the benefits of it. Being able to back up here. Roat's going to be the one playing sniper tower defense. A lot of elims for the squad here. 5 elims, so they're doing pretty good right now.
Impressive stuff. Obviously getting the squad wipe at the authority. And then 2 more throughout the game. Now they're posted up in risky reels, 1 on the billboard, and then 1 all the way down by the house. I was gonna say for a second it said they were below, but there's no chance with 5 eliminations that they'll be down below. Bugsv will take more control of risky reels. All the cars gone, by the way, so no metal accrued here at all. Now getting a view at a different side of this, it's Frenzy Farm, and there it looks like 4 teams are already based up nearby. Gonzo get a pressure against Soul and Chase, but gets stuck right back. That means he has to move out a little bit, and I think the rest of his team is further forward. I see Jared's there, and there's 2 separate teams up on top of the main house of Frenzy.
Let's not forget Soul and Chase there. One of the better trios in the competition, like we said, finishing first for their region. One of the heaviest fragging squads as well. They're outed. The teams up above know that they're in the hayfields now. Still is a risk in firing in. Let's see.
They're also below Storm Surge Monster, 21. That means they're going to have to try to take a fight. They're going to have to try to take some shots. That's why he was so desperately firing upon Chase from the other side. Potential nades as well. They're spreading out to find opportunities to get above, but it doesn't matter in any case, as the 70-player threshold has gone through. Roat finds, I believe, the 2nd place team have taken Tiny Jelly and Aqua. That entire squad wiped instantly, and I'm not sure how. Maybe some nades thrown from Blue T's base. So well done there, and at the same time, Gonzo, Jared's and crew are pushing in on this fight too.
That's right, they opened up huge here. Jared's is gonna actually explode Soul there, so the RPG grenade combo was too much for them to handle, and now Gonzo is close enough to take in the fight, and oh my gosh, he's gonna drop him down to the lower levels. He's gonna secure it though, but hey, he's gonna manage to crank up just in time. So a big knock here, possibly a finish. I'm not sure, the interface isn't quite giving us the A-OK on that, but either way, a great opener here. As now Chase is trying to open up the angles, the edit's coming out. I'm not sure if this is the right move for him to fight 3 players with the open edit. No, he's gonna get punished big time there. There's another fight going now. We talked about Roat, who just picked up a 3-piece. He's up against, I think that was Bugsv. Here's Tiny Jelly by himself. Remember, he's in 4th place right now. This is his lead in the balance right now. And yes, it's Blue T who's pressuring him back. All these builds are his though. He's able to maneuver his way through. I think they found him though, Bala.
I think they did. Already taking down 2 of their members. Meanwhile, Agers also gets a 3-piece at the same time. Tiny Jelly holding on for his life and holding on for the lead, but you know we're at Blue T and Bugsv are not letting them go. They've got the drum gun on his tail, and they open the edits on the backside of this too. Jelly running through so many builds. It's hard to find the coordination, spatial recognition, but finally They find him. They pounce out of the bush like a rabbit. He's done for. Actually, no, he gets away still. The speed on this man, but how long will he last? There's almost no chance.
All he needs now is to get in the cone and let it heal. If he can hide out, he might be a-okay. Minute and a half on the clock, though. Here comes the storm zone. Is it worth it? Yeah, it is. They're going to be able to get whatever they can get out of him. Not like he had much material with how much building it did, but hey, huge elimination, huge points here on the board. 8s now for Roat, Bugsy, and Blue Tea. There's a reason they came second for the region, just under Bizzle, Zexro, and Jaith, and they're proving it now as to why they're one of these stronger trios in the competition. All of the notable trios that we shouted out at the start of the show, by the way, are the ones giving us a show right now.
Yeah, it seems like they're all online. As Roat does take a snipe, but almost responds with one of his own. This team, by the way, was all the way down at 23rd the last time we checked in with the leaderboard, which means they have a long ways to go, but with the 8 elims that they've already accrued in the one game, this is going to be huge. A couple nades being set up right now from Jaith, Zexro, and crew if they spot them correctly right before, and I think they do. That mark is perfect. Here it goes. Perfectly timed. They move though. They recognize it. Magnolia, Sueso, and Mini have backed away, but now they engage. They've been forced into a cave, and I think maybe even a couple more nades. No, it's all done. This is the same type of thing that they ended up losing Jaith with in the last time. The way that they moved and tried to find these aggressive angles. This time, though, a little bit more compact, not on high ground, instead waiting for the zones and waiting for positioning. The zone will be perfect for them. They can actually just wait here for 5th zone to reveal and then launch on the height, which is known from Bizzle as a strategy.
I don't know, man. Bizzle's keeping a close eye on the cave. I think he's really debating whether or not they just want to smoke him out, right? From 2 angles. There's no escaping, especially with the shockwave launcher. They can propel themselves into the box, quite literally. But all right, that team's gonna get out of the cave. Dangerous position. Here's Cero, Valor, and Fox. And remember, 2nd place for this squad right here. 130 points after the update. They are vibing, playing for endgame now, not taking those aggressive mid-game fights, changing up this strategy, switching it up right now. $7,500 is in the air. Probably means much more to them than a team like Bizzle, who has the most earnings in Fortnite. So, you know, easier to have some fun and just do what he does. These guys are probably really playing for the money and the prizing right now.
For a team that might not have had too significant results throughout all of this entire competitive Fortnite history, now a regional battle. I don't even think that this is a team that has played completely with each other before in other events even. So this is new to them as well. They will make their way in, but 80 below. And with 61 people alive, this could be a dangerous surge for sure. But people able to be fired upon. It's Rox, Janik, and Agers on the backside of that, but even more tags. Yes, they get one, but only a burst AR shot from range won't do too much. And everybody's still contesting for surge damage. And look at this, so a lot of congestion on the side. There should be an opportunity for them to find something. Yes, they get a snipe. Now 22 above, but that won't last.
Is right, so the pressure has to continue here. You can see that it's just barely slipping away, and they're praying that when that counter comes down, it's not onto them. One below now, no, they lose that lead that they had, and it's just going to be a struggle of back and forth until they find at least a big frag here. Remember, the knocked body as well can result in the form of Storm Surge too, so every interaction is going to matter now. Looking for any tags available. 10 players are gonna have to fall. Here's some big shots from downrange. One that might get them an elim, but no. The incoming fire from the high ground team, they're not allowing them to run this lobby for free by any means here. Let's see if there are minis from the crew. Yes, there are. Comes the split.
Surge is active right now, so 8 players, potentially more, all getting ticked by this. 25 damage every 5 seconds.
Okay, someone tries to jump in the box.
But there's even a box fight. Yes, the crash pad tries to get him in. Meanwhile, teams on the height who have the damage don't have to worry at it at all. They're just looking down. Roat might even be able to find an angle on the team that we were looking at before. They're still on the backside of zone. They're going to launch across. Maybe dangerous while Surge is active. effective, but no, they're gonna find a nice, decent spot on the outside of the zone where they'll be able to build in sneakily, I think. No, look at this, so many materials actually. A refresh, perfectly spotted from Roat and Blue Team.
And you know, that's probably a team that fell victim to a storm surge right there. That isolated loot in the middle of nowhere. It's all theirs to scoop on up, and that's going to be a free refresh, like you mentioned, for the half in, half out. That's so crucial. And it's great for this team here who's on fire right now and is looking to really close the gap for the bad start, right, that they had at the beginning of this whole competition here. Now, king positioning out of Blue Tee and the rest of the team following up. Roat and Bugsy getting up to height here. The excitement is drawing near as the first full moving is approaching. Here comes the end game of Fortnite. The chaos that's going to ensue. Question is, I see Bizzle. When are they going to make a stab for height? As we see Zexro as well. Is Jade still alive? I wonder.
We have to ask that question, but he is. I see him right there, spotted in the same box as them. So the opportunity will be a 7 zone or a 6 zone height take on the front side of it. Wondering too if Gonzo and crew are up and where they are in this whole kerfuffle. But again, Roat, Blue Tee, and Bugsby, they have the glider gun this time, which was a difference from them in the last time. Zexro ended up stealing that from them. How do they maintain? Bugsby doing a great job staying on basically the spot where they took height, and maybe catching somebody off by surprise. People launching on the side of zone who think it's all clear, but no tags gained. But still maintaining height, which is crucial for them.
Player who's turning up right now. You see Jared's find one, but Okote's already down. Another knock's going to come out to Roat there now as well. So Blue Tee and Roat making good work of their high ground, finding frags for it, which is super important come this late game right now. Remember, these are all points that are going to start to stack up now. Spark is going to find someone in the feed there as well. 16 teams remaining. Placement points are going to begin get stacked up here now. This is where it's really going to start swinging in the favor. Someone's on the layer though. Roat's forced into position now, away from his squad mates. Lucky for him though, he is going to jump up, get back with the crew. Here you saw a couple enemy builds. That's because this layer was suddenly landed on by another squad.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Disrupt has fallen. They're going to take this box fight on the same layer. It's a different squad, though. It's Fable, Taco, and crew. Zexro finds one. I didn't see any of them falling in the feed, so they're probably making their way up towards height. Yes, they are. They've got it all the way up, and now all 3 members are online, and with plenty of players still left to find, this could be huge for Bizzle, Zexro, and crew. Maybe they can start to reclaim their lead on the lobby, although Valor is the player. Oh, Bizzle will take him out. That was the player in the lead. Still Foxen leading forward. And they might still be able to grab themselves a couple more elim points because there's still 1 player left alive for them. If he can maintain all the way up till 2nd place or 3rd, they might still be able to hold on to what Bizzle and Zexro are bound to do in this lobby.
That's right, and I saw Foxen finding one in the feed as well, so the trades back and forth. You're looking at team 1 and 2 still in this game right now, going toe-to-toe. It's looking so much better, though, for Bizzle, Zexro, and Jatho, of course, who have now 3 eliminations. The frags finally starting to convert on over. There goes that harpoon getting put into play. You can see he's pulling material and all sorts of good stuff from the zone right now. Shotgun shots are going to connect, and those are some massive ones from the purple attack right now. Big follow-ups though. More pressure here. Zero. This is the guy that they want to get taken out. This is the guy you do not want earning any more points in this end game right now. And finally, he's going to get dropped. First place conquers over the 2nd place team there, and now Zero's out of the running. He cannot accumulate any more points.
And just before, it was 7th place, so just before even more thresholds, Bizzle, Zexro, and Jath has put so much pressure on that one team that they needed to. Meanwhile, I still think Jared's is up in this. Ved 2, who got 2nd place in the first game when Zexro, Bizzle, and Jath ended up winning that. Spark NA as well, still alive. Rox ends up just falling there to Bizzle, and a couple different players all fall at the same time. We're now in a top 4 situation. Looking down, Bizzle still trying to find the edits. Players all in the box. A full trio, I believe, is still up. -1 or 2 extra players. Nice control for Bizzle. He almost finds an Elim, but he ends up losing, knocks him down anyways, and gets the last refresh. A top 2 situation. Trio versus trio.
still looking like it can go either which way. Zexro nearly lost the lead there when he jumped down, and yes, he's gonna get punished again this time around. He's got to be careful as Jaith is in the zone ticking away as well, and all of a sudden it's not looking too good. It can go either way. Ved's still alive here, fighting for it back. Jaith's gonna get taken out, and now it's a battle for height. Bizzle's trying his best to maintain. He does choke it just a little bit here now, and now he solidifies high ground. So it's his. 5 players remaining, 2 of which are knocked for Bizzle. So Bizzle's only left by himself to finish up the rest of this crew. He's got enough mass to hold it out, and no, the pressure for the low ground. Bala, this is not looking too good for the decorated Ved, and he falls just like that.
So revenge for Ved, Dev, and Dean as they lost in the first time when they ended up fighting a 2 versus 2 against Zexro and Bizzle. In this case, they end up coming out on top. And with just the same amount of eliminations, they might end up pulling over Zexro and crew, and also a lot of different things to unfold and unpack in that game too, because like we saw, Vero, or what was that team? The Valor crew and that entire trio was there too, and towards the end game, and they had something like 7-2. So this is going to get very close as we move in towards the next couple of games.
That was a really good game, and man, it's unprecedented to see the low ground team overcome the team on height. But we talk about, I think what's holding them back is that aggression, right? The respect that they're not putting on the players. But hey, everyone's here to fight it out, and losing like that, another disappointing situation for Bizzle and the team. But hey, consistency across the board regardless.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to do if they're going to have Caddy Corner uncontested. But still, even then, teams are fighting for it. And it's not the Caddy team that wins that game. A well-executed, not sure if it was planned, but the way that Ved and crew ended up staying in zone. Dean was also in zone on a different layer. So when one person came out, they all started panicking and looking up towards height, expecting a player to come out with floppers from the zone. But in this case, there was also another threat, which was Dean lurking from another angle that ended up beaming, who was it on height? Jaith with the shockwave launcher. And that's when it all fell apart. And Bizzle not able to hold on against 3 players from down below spraying. It might have been possible, but no, it won't work out in that case.
I mean, so it's how it is, Bala. It's how it is. You know, you never know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, exactly. So that was game 3. We still got game 4 and a whole rack more action going on. 5 games to go. But so many different teams have been putting on a show for us. Gonzo and crew, one of those. Bizzle and them, though, starting to roll away potentially. We still got game 4 underway. Come back and stay with us after this. Welcome back to the Battle of the Boroughs. We've got 5 more games to go, and from what I'm seeing so far, I have to make a request. I have no stake in this whole Battle of the Boroughs thing. I'm not from New York, but right now I'm seeing New Jersey come 2nd place, and then 1st place over the Long Island guys. Monster, what is going on? We can't have New Jersey winning the Battle of Boroughs.
That's what I'm saying. Brooklyn, step it up. Come on, Cerro, Valor, what are you guys doing? Stop getting dropped in those end games. Come out on top. No, but man, competition going crazy. And hey, I gave props to Jersey at the start of the show. You have to. They had the toughest of the qualifiers. I mean, by far, you could just see, like, when you just know the game quality is just a little bit better. They just had good quality runs through the qualifiers, and hey, for them to show up, I expected this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be something that you see, especially because these games are much more like that. Although when you add in a team of the caliber of Zexro and crew, even a team like this, Soul, Chase, and Invidious, who did it in the Queens qualifier, you end up having lobbies that could be a little thinner, a little less stacked, as you may call it, because you have these very aggressive teams winning outs. Regardless, though, the placement strategy of that New Jersey team is working out, but they're not getting the elims. And that last one, yes, they did. The first time, though, when they got 2nd place and losing against Bizzle and crew, they didn't. A team that did start to get the elims and start to heat up was Roat and crew. They ended up falling in somewhere in the end game, but still, definitely a good way to come and claw their way back into it, because the first 2 games they had no success.
This is a fantastic endgame that we get to watch finally from Ved's perspective, because we didn't really understand what was going on. We just saw Bizzle scrambling, and look at all the angles that they had, the layering that they had kind of spaced out over the other crew. I mean, it's crazy to see that of every region, all of the 1 and 2 teams from each of those regions are the conversation today. That's usually not what you see when you step into grand finals. obviously we kind of expected, but typically you see just a little bit of everything. Sometimes some upsets and whatnot, but today that is the story. Like legit, the best teams from the regions are showing up today, and they're being the best teams still in the conversation right now.
Yeah, usually I guess it's not as all grouped together is what normally happens in these semifinals and the heats and stuff like that. Everybody's grouped together, but this time it's really like a battle of this region, and the skill groups rise up as time goes through. So the people at the top actually are staying at the top. You have no semifinals curses today at all, unless maybe we'll see how this thing continues to unfold, because we still have 5 games remaining, and we do have the leaderboard update. And Elite has clapped back in furious fashion, now down by 7 against Fox and Sarah and Valor, who still maintain this lead even without any endgame presence whatsoever, Monster.
And don't forget, guys, Team Elite is Bizzle, Zexro, and Jayth. So you can see that's the squad that's fighting for first right now. It's been neck and neck. Low IQ, though, just coming in underneath that at 188 points. Not too bad for New Jersey. And that's the team that just took that victory royale there. Dev, Leo, and Ved. So top 3 squads, all of which are representing for different regions. And you can see God Team right there representing again for the Bronx Borough, like we said. And that's Okote, Jared's, and whatchamacallit, Gonzo there, all of which are still top 5 squads.
Yeah, exactly. And to look at the breakdown, actually, New Jersey does have 2 in, but it's really that Long Island and Brooklyn borough. I guess I shouldn't say just one borough, obviously the 2 grouping up in the regional qualifiers, but still ridiculous stuff out of that. They seem to breed Fortnite players left and right, that's for sure. We will be able to hop into the next game and see how this proceeds, because we'll see, can Fox and Sarah and Valor keep it up again? That's 3 in a row, Monster, that they've done the elimination style push. As we move into game 4, can they continue? This is another team from New Jersey that we've been looking at and starting to wonder why they call themselves low IQ, because you don't expect a placement heavy team like this to think of themselves as low IQ. They've all been so solid.
They just gassing it up, you know, coming in hot here. Dev and Ved, like I said before, they were playing some solid end games there, opening up those lines of sights in, playing through the zone, right? And it's just not every day you see some quality Fortnite unfold where the low ground squad takes over the high ground team. Not only that, a team like Bizzle, Zexro, and Jayth, the scariest trio in the competition today. Here's hopping over though. We're going to Fortilla. This battle has been raging back and forth for Tiny Jelly, Aqua, and Taken. There's a couple more threats here that have the island in the back.
Yeah, I think potentially it's just 2 teams. The colors are kind of confusing there, but we do have Ocean already in sights for Takens. That means they'll be having access to the vaults if they so desire, and if they can push that other squad out. This should be, that's Ocean right there. They're split on a lot of different fronts, but they've got it straight line down the middle, which means they can zone the other team out, and they're zoning them out from not only Ocean, but the vault too, which is up in that top right corner that they already own. This fight again too, also one that has been unfolding, but usually there's an early engagement pretty much directly after they drop. This time it's a lot more conserved and conservative. I wonder if either side has found the card and the drum gun just yet from Jules.
Definitely a little bit of a slower pace for Roat, Blutsy, and Bugsby here. Last time around we tuned in and they had those elims dropped off the bat. Now kind of stretching it out. Bluetsy's on the hunt here, trying to gather up some information there. I believe I saw Jules. And what's this here? Okay, so the Pleasant Park crew, Sarah, Valor, and Foxen already on the hunt. 3 more points in the favor for them, or 3 more elims, I should say.
They just dominated this squad on the outside of Pleasant Park, all basically 1 by 1. Foxen has 2 eliminations, but the way that they were split up on the side of Pleasant right there indicates to me that this is a squad that is having so much trouble finding their footing. And they've given another full trio wipe to Valor. Meanwhile, though, look at that in the feed. Tiny Jelly goes down to Chris, and that's at Fortilla. Even though they had that massive split, they might have found Tiny Jelly off all by himself, and that fight will certainly be breaking out at the Fortilla.
The pros and cons of having that wide split. The isolation becomes easier and easier if you get pounced on, especially if the guard is let down. You can see there goes the conversion onto Tiny Jelly. So the knock and now the finish for Chino up in the feed. But it's a back and forth battle. Aqua's going to find Chino in response. So we'll see who comes out on top over at the Fortilla. This team here, though, is absolutely scary. They just marched completely out of Pleasant before even fully farming it or gathering material. Notice they're just on the hunt right now to come to Salty Springs. And Salty Springs was trying to move for this keg as well. And now they get cut off before they manage to get to it. Fox and Valor are going to back up now. So they walked in to claim some territory, and now they have the bridge for metal.
It's interesting to see the pace changes. That one little adjustment in the game, I shouldn't say little, major adjustment in the game will adjust these people's paths so quickly. You don't see a team leave Pleasant Park as fast as they normally do, but they need to make sure that they secure one of the two bridges getting out of that side of the island. This fight's still ongoing. This is very surprising. I'm pretty sure Blue T secured. Yes, they almost certainly secured the vault. That's why there's those cones right there in front of them. And now it's just a matter of getting out with that loot in tow and also maybe securing so that they can safely open it.
Zito under some pressure here. Trying to get away from the threats that are lingering up above him. Yes, they do have the drum gun here. Player off in the distance though, Bacon Strips is the same player that fell before of this trio, but no, this time it's Blue T who's gonna fall first. Roak claps back here onto Bean, who's down in the low ground. A little bit of a dual fight going on here. Is going to be able to miss the build there. No, he doesn't have any builds. That's the problem, but he finds Bean through the crack, and that's going to be massive now. The thirst, the conversion. That means material's going to fall for the opponents, and no, he's going to get pinched now. It's a 1v2 situation for Bugsy. He has to clutch up here. They're lit up, though. He can definitely do this, and yes, he does. He manages to pull through, and Bugsy is the hero for the squad now, and Roak gets saved just in time.
Oh, wow, Bugsy clutching up huge. That's the 3 elims that they needed out of the Authority. They'll be able to reboot Blue T, so no worries about that at all. That's something that happens pretty much every single time you fight at the Authority in any case. So they get the vault, they get the reboot, and they'll be able to get Blue T right back into action, kitted out, and moving forward just like they did last game.
Wait a second. Joe, Redux, and Glizzy gave up the Craggy Cliffs. Now they're at Holly Hedges looking for a different beginning.
They might have won the fight off spawn twice, but then that push does not leave them confident, and they will push over towards Holly Hedge this time. They'll be the aggressors. They'll be the infractors who infiltrate into Holly Hedges in the middle of the 4th game, which is not what the other team expects. And they do already find one, spray in from the other side too. The pitch is really nice. Yes, he gets 2. That's Pump, I believe, on the backside. And they've even got him boxed up to save him if they need to. Joe down right now. Nades coming in. No, we gotta be so careful. No damage taken just yet. And it works. Those came in flying. It's another team on the backside of Holly Hedges. No, it might be the same one coming in from the side.
Oh, this is looking like a different squad now pushing in, and they're gonna have to pick up Joe and toss into the new save zone here.
I can't believe they made it out,
to
man.
A position, actually.
Those are perfectly placed nades, it felt like, and they were able to outbuild it completely. Redux gets right up on top and pressures the team away. And now they're able to actually get the revive, and they win another off-spawn fight, but are they in shambles now out of the early game is the question.
Here's a little bit of a rematch that we saw from game number 1. This time, Fox and Valor and Cero in the home plate here at Pleasant. They rotated out, came right back to find some new threats in the area. And yes, right there, Fox is going to be able to get his exchange out. The shakedown occurs, and now he's going to get all the information he needs. In comes the grenades. Lucky for him, he's going to be able to touch out of there so close. He needs to siphon, though. Boom. That's going to give him what he needs. Here's Valor on the other perspective, taking the toe-to-toe. He's going to find Allen. One shot needed left, and yes, they wrap up this squad. So many elims falling for Fox and Cero and Valor here. 6 more to kick this game off, and this is why they're in the lead. This is why they've been hard to catch up for Bizzle, Zexro, and Jade.
Yep. It's just these elims, they're valued so highly over everything. You can get so many in a trios game even if you don't necessarily have like an end game pop off or anything like that, right? You're already at 6 just from 2 trios who've pushed into you at Pleasant Park, and that means that a lot of points on the board for everybody here going forward, and even still a mid game to play through, even still a storm surge to play through, which is a whole rack of desperate people that they can find shots on and potentially find elims on.
That is a good point there. All the pressure off of their shoulders when they start with such a huge bonus of tags and elims just in general. Here though, now having to bounce back material wise, they've put a lot out there. Lucky for them, they've gained a lot in the process. 77 players up. Zone finally reveals itself, and now it's time to cut across. I don't think Storm Surge was a big factor in the previous game, at least for zone 2 into 3. It's looking like it's not going to be that way this time around either. So game 4, aggression is being shown in all regards here across the map. Frenzy Farm now has a little bit of activity. It's against the Marauders here for Guardy. You can see they can do damage too. You got to be careful with those guys.
I think that was an Assault Marauder too. Should drop an RPG if they do decide to fight. Should be huge. This team though stuck in Frenzy Farm, and I don't think there's really much that they're planning on doing because they're struggling so hard right now, and they're the only team here. No, sorry, there's actually another guy throwing nades, and looked like he might have been by himself even, but they're still on the back foot.
Yeah, I think there's a solo in the attic, by the way, given that whole trio pressure. I mean, look at their loadout. They only had gray pistols and whatnot, but a fight that's extended out is a new team that walks in, and they want the gas here. Roat's here to give it. He jumps right into the box with the boost off, and now that's 2 for 1 for Roat. It's going to be Alpha who falls now, and he's going to follow up behind with the other as well. Vix is going to fall there, and Toddy. So now 1 player left on this trio here. Fully got him isolated out, and that's it.
Wow.
It's over.
So there's another team who's up on 6 elims too, and did that pretty much last game. They start to rise up. That's Team East Side, and I'm going to take a look at where they were after that game because I think they had a lot. Yeah, remember they were 23rd before game 2, or no, sorry, after game 2. They certainly rose up very, very high after their performance in game 3, and this potentially could rise them even further, maybe push up into the top 10 to join everybody who's playing so well, like Zexo, Jaith, Team New Jersey. I'm gonna call them the low IQ guys of Ved, Dean, and crew.
Yeah, it is true though. Blue at Roat, Bugsy push up into top 5 after their crazy game 3, having a monstrous set of elims. Bizzle's gonna find himself a nice little knock up there, and Jace's gonna seal the deal on that one. So finally, for Bizzle and crew, getting some early elims that we know are going to be important if they want to keep up with Cero, Valor, and the others here. Big snipes coming out though. Taken's not going to find the mark, but it's all right. He has the attention of the opponents. Here comes Red Ox. Remember, they just came out of Holly Hedges victorious, and we talk about these mid-game fights that are crucial for Bizzle and the squad to take first place. Now it looks like they're in it. Dextro finds Drip, and the shakedown's happening. Bizzle holds all the walls, and they have the information they need now to hunt him down.
Yeah, and they even got 6 stinks, and they know Jaith has been pressuring this entire time, and yes, they'll finish it. Perfect fight again in the center of the map for Bizzle, Jaith, and Zexro. 3 elims now, and they should have the kits to go forward. Ooh, lurking in the distance, really close to them actually, is Ved, Dean, and everybody else. Here's a fight that broke out because of the reboot, and all that loot is still there, so I think they didn't even be able to grab what Aqua ended up dropping them. It's Starving and Oxygen, who moved out of Holly, and now on top of Weeping Woods Lodge. Potentially going to find some shots still on Aqua, Tiny Jelly, and crew, but they move in. This isn't in zone though. I think this entire structure is going to be overwhelmed by the storm.
I'm actually surprised Joe and Pump here are looking to take this fight. They are at the disadvantage right now, but the aggression, they're not playing like they're at a disadvantage by any means. It only takes 1 counter fire trade to really punish. So this is a very interesting fight, as another squad's going to catch wind of what's going on over here, and they want a piece of the action. Oh, and you know it's Cero, Valor, and crew Fox in here, company stepping up to the plate. They want in on the battle. They're looking to get into the box fight. You know, usually if you don't get tags, you just back up, but not these guys. They want every single elim they can muster up. Foxen is the one playing lurk though, backed up in the distance here. One peek and he'll lose his head. Ooh, the lineup nearly there for Joe.
But Tiny Jelly has gotten 0, so that squad is down 1, and that might actually give the loot that one of those players needed after getting rebooted if they can find the finish, and I think they did. That's the sign for Redux and crew to back off because they did lose a little HP in the first initial engagement. Meanwhile, that fight still should break out. No, they've completely disengaged. There are some shots being fired on the back side of this. Joe tries to trade, but he gets put down by the hands of Rocks, Agers, and Janik, who are looking directly at this fight right now. Could this be a revive? No, I think that Pump is not going to have any options. He might have to throw him off the side, break the line of sight, and I think he just did. Yes, no more fire down upon them. But zone is going to be a problem.
4 seconds on the clock. Redux backed up just in time to put those brick walls down. Here's a team that is on the complete opposite footing, basically max material, some serious elims, and now they're looking to set up some grenade strategy here. You know, Bizzle's always so clutch with the nade strategies. Let's see what he comes up with this time. He's clearly got an idea to blow this team up that's so close by. See what kind of ricochet he comes up with, or whatever bank shot it is he's gonna make here. Yep. All right, all the way up they go, almost nearly complete vertical, and they're gonna find the mark, but it's not gonna hit anyone, just Dev. But it is gonna open things up for the team that's there. Now the stinkers from the other side. This might be a fight they're gonna commit to. No, instead they're gonna rotate off the distraction. I think Biz was backing up to, yes, exactly, complete the loadout. They have so much loot back here. 5 more stinks for them as well. That's clutch.
By the way, while this is all going on, I'm curious what Fox and Zero and Valor were able to make their way out of that, because obviously they lost 1, still 2 up in the game, but a precarious position on the side of zone. That might be the first time they end up falling, or at least losing good footing in this mid game, because everybody else is still going to rise, and this might be the game that they lose the lead because of their aggressive style ending up costing them.
So I saw Spark G in the feed catch a knock onto Markowski. That was the Frenzy Farm squad. So it looks like Spark G clutches up as he was the solo in the Addict and actually found some elims on that other crew. Not sure how that all unfolded, but very interesting turn of events, showing you guys that, hey, even a solo can clutch up and make big things happen. Now though, Bizzle, after re-getting all of the material, hits a nice little rotation here down the head side, the back side.
This is so nice. This is clean rotation, breaking the line of sight from the top, coming around the side. Yes, the zone will move in this direction, but another team has already moved. If they do fight them, they'll end up building for them and then even popping peppers. Once the coast is clear, they'll be easily able to not only edge their way into zone, but also potentially find themselves a nice big position or a fight to push. There's some stinks, a lot of damage being done, but it's only whites, and without any other shots being placed onto them, they're not going to fight this. Look at this. Jared's, Gonzo, and Okote have a really solid position up on the north side of this. High ground and potentially 5th zone for them.
It's looking pretty good for them. I did see Gonzo also find a knock, but it looks like that didn't even convert over. So no points being accrued just yet in this comp. This game here, this is game number 4. We're halfway through the competition, guys. This is an 8-game series now. Grand finals, $35,000 on the line. $7,500 for first place if they can take it. Jared's got to be careful with that RPG and his squad mate building out like that. It's the double RPG though, and they're gonna find it on Tomas there, down in the low ground. So one is gonna sneak through the double rocket. Such a strong strategy to put into play. Now they're just gonna back up though. They're gonna count that as a small victory. Remember, Storm Surge can damage at any given time. In trios, you just don't know when it's really gonna stack up against you. So it is what it is. They're still in the game though.
Might not have elims, but they did find a Marauder pack, which had 2 RPGs for them, which could be very crucial, like you already pointed out. It's the power of that double RPG, especially in this stage of the game when people are starting to base up. and start to have a lot of congestion. That can cause chaos. Not only that, but get massive damage in through. Here comes the 5th zone reveal. Bizzle, Zexro, and crew, they're still trying to pressure even though. So bring him forward. Get tagged a little bit, but zone not too far, so they're instantly going to start to tarp out in that direction. Bizzle going to go out the backside and start to pressure the team up on height. They're in the center zone, so they have to move as well, but could be a big threat to maintain the high ground pressure that they have.
Little battle in Brooklyn over there as I see Bugsby get taken out. So east side now down a member. Roat and Blue Tee. I do wonder if the grappler is going to exchange hands here. I think it is still safe. Last I saw, Bugsby had that drum gun, so might still be in the running. You asked about Foxen and Valor. They're still alive there, so poised up on the side of the mountain. Looks like they're also going to catch zone this time. That's pretty massive considering they don't have that 3rd player.
Don't forget that team that's facing off against them. This is team 1 and 2 essentially. Zexro on them in 2nd place. Oh my goodness, Spark G just gets beamed by the hands of Bizzle and Zexro. They combine on that and they get pressure on the rest of the team. They get another elim in quick succession. No, make that 3. And the loot. This is perfect because that's the time where they just made their way in the zone. So this is them taking the lead over Fox and Valor and Sarah on the other side of this mountain right here. And again, facing off against them, they could put huge implications on what the rest of their game will look like they did in the end game of the last time.
That was 2 different teams that went down there. Spark G was the sole member of Frenzy, and he gets taken out as the sole individual, so he landed on the wrong layer running from the squad up above. Jafe, though, and crew really cooking up right now as Bizzle, Zexro, and Jafe now rack up their 8th elimination. This is the most we've seen in the mid-game from them so far. They've been sticking true to their game plan, taking their time, marching through anyone that just so happens to walk into their line of fire. And this is shaping out to be a monstrous game because they know, or we know, high ground is essentially free for them with the Shockwave launcher. The more material they get, the more likely they are to be able to maintain it so dominantly as well and be able to battle for the height. This impact frag right here is going to set them up to be capped out now, Bala.
They're all capped out. Those 3 elims that they just got literally will refresh them all back up to max materials, which is not something you usually see in trios. I see Ved still up, who won the last game and started to push his way up the leaderboards too. Zexro, though, has 6 peppers. He could split this with his entire team and so many heals as well. I can't see them going for height in the next. I mean, I can't see them not going for height in the next zone. Also start to pressure, even with nades too. They might not even have to use a shockwave. With the peppers that they have, they could start to split on all sides to different sides, but they're really stuck right now, causing little flubs on the back side of this. It's really difficult to see them. There it is. Launch pad forward, and from here it will be a high ground take. Nobody's actually fighting for it at all, so they land early. Well done from Bizzle, and they've got control.
Now it's just the build up here, and I mean, we've seen this before. 2 games in a row they did lose somehow their lead, so things are not over till it's over. But high ground is theirs once again coming into an end game here, and it's looking like a repeat of last time. I saw the shockwave go off right there. I think it just said someone flying out of a base. As I'm looking around now, what's happening here is Storm Surge is active and it's zapping players as well. So all kinds of activity right now. Bizzle is looking to heal up his squad mates here. And the feed is lighting up. Janik's gonna fall there. Claw's gonna fall there. Now grenades being put down. This is the perfect place to put your nades. It's nice and clustered up as far as the players go, and they're so high up, yes, over the competition. They need to come back down. Big Clicks is gonna fall here now. More nades being put into the thick of the base. Let's see how it's gonna happen. Sway's gonna fall.
Another knock for Bizzle. That puts them now up to, what is this? 10 elims with that last one too. Another nade connected. Clicks ended up, or Big Clicks. Not the real Clicks ended up falling, and another one too. These guys are starting to tear it way up. And the team that's trying to fight them from 5th place, Gonzo, Jareds, and Okote, have no elims. Zexro finally falls though. A potential opportunity for another team to end up winning against them, but when you see them in this position, it looks like so difficult. And boom, Bizzle, another one on the Agers. He is not missing. Now up to 8 elims 15 for this trio right now, and this might be it. They might start to overtake this lead, and more shots being put down on the one team that really needs this game. Gonzo goes down. Bizzle another finish on the Agers. He's now up to 9. 5 teams left in this, and 7 players for them, and I think they might even clean up the rest of this lobby.
It's looking like it. There's no looking back at this point, as they are just fragging out right now, really sweeping the dust under the rug here, tracking so nicely there. There goes the Bronx team. Makote being wrapped up and finished out, and this is the victory lap here. I can't do the math on this, but it's looking like a near 20 bomb if they can catch the last few. Yes, there's only 3 more in the game, and this is could be all theirs, but no. Regret's gonna find someone down on the low ground here now, and Bizzle just has to wrap things up here. It's a little battle for hype, but he has enough materials to maintain the game here. 10 for Bizzle. Bizzle being the clutch factor right now. No need for the Shockwave Eager, like you mentioned. Just a well-executed snag for height, and now he's looking to block them out. He's got enough mats to do it. All the edits are coming in. There's nowhere to hide anymore. I love this little angle right here, and there it is. Regret's gonna fall to Jaith on the backside. Beautiful shots from Bizzle as well.
Wow, that was clinical in the last moments there, but what is this from Bizzle? 10 eliminations, and it all started from them fragging out in that 5th zone, grabbing those impact eliminations right before they really needed it, all maxing out on materials. And I mean, that's some ridiculous stuff. And then that final moments, with the way that he took control, all of the cones, and then when in front of it, looked back, had to come that direction. And then Jaith also on high, finding himself a peak box directly through in the same angle. There's really no way out of that.
That's a huge victory royale for them for sure. I mean, and they patched up the holes that we were mentioning before. 1, sticking together as a trio, and then 2, finding frags in that early and mid game. And we saw the difference maker, how much material they had. They didn't even need to depend on the Shockwave launcher in those final moments.
That's ridiculous stuff. So that's game 4 done and dusted. We're more than halfway through the 8 games in the grand finals right now. Of course, we will be looking to see if anybody can even challenge. Is there going to be an opportunity for Foxen, Zero, and Valor to come back into the game? They tried a little bit and almost got to endgame in that one, but unfortunately ended up getting put down still. No success in the endgame, but very much success for Bizzle in this last one. We've got 4 more to go, but after this short break.